When was the last time your child looked you in the eyes? Not a glance, not a quick, "Yeah, Mom," from across the room, but really looked at you, present, unhurried, fully there. If you had to stop and think about that, this video is for you. Because something is happening inside our homes that no one is talking about honestly. Not a dramatic crisis, no single moment you can point to and say, that's where it went wrong. Just a slow, quiet drift. A sofa where 3 people sit and 3 separate worlds exist. A dinner table where the food gets cold while the screens stay warm. Psychologists have a name for this. They call it digital orphaning. It means a parent who is physically in the room, but emotionally somewhere else entirely. Present in body, absent in everything that matters. Today, we are going to look at what this actually does to a child's brain. Not to scare you, not to make you feel guilty, but because understanding the real mechanism is the first step to changing it. And the science here is both surprising and hopeful. Let's start with something small. Something you probably do every day without thinking about it. You sit down for dinner. You put your phone on the table, face down, silent. You're not using it. You're right there, talking, eating, being a parent. Here's what the research found. That phone, just sitting there, doing nothing, is already doing something. Researchers at the University of Illinois discovered that the simple presence of a smartphone on a table reduces the quality of conversation and the level of emotional connection between people. Even switched off, even face down. Why? Because our brains know the phone is there, and a small part of our attention, constantly, quietly, is waiting for it. We are never fully in the moment. We are always, as researchers put it, halfway there. Now, imagine what that feels like through the eyes of a child. They don't see a parent who is mostly here. They see a parent whose eyes drift, whose responses are a half-second slower, who says, and yes, but whose face doesn't fully light up. And a child's brain, which is still learning what love looks like, what attention feels like, registers this as a signal. Am I not enough to hold their attention? They won't say that out loud, but their nervous system asks it every single time. There is a famous experiment in developmental psychology called the still face experiment. It's simple and it's devastating to watch. A mother plays with her infant, smiling, responding, fully engaged. Then, on cue, she goes completely expressionless, still, blank. She's still there, still looking, but her face has gone quiet. Within seconds, the baby begins to panic. They reach out, they make sounds, they try everything they know to get their mother back. And when nothing works, they shut down, they turn away, they go quiet too. Now here is the part that nobody talks about. That blank, unresponsive face, that's what a smartphone screen looks like to a child whose parent is scrolling. The parent is there, but they are gone. And the child, just like that infant, feels it in their body before they can form a single word about it. This isn't about blame, it is about biology. A child's brain is wired, deeply, evolutionarily wired, to read the face of their caregiver as their primary source of safety information. When that face goes dark, the brain doesn't think, "Mom is busy." It thinks, "Something is wrong." Now let's talk about your child's screen, because this is where most parents feel the most frustrated and the most confused. You take the phone away and they act like you've taken away the air they breathe. You offer a walk, a game, a conversation, and they look at you like you're speaking a foreign language. And you wonder, what happened to my kid? Here's what happened, and it's not their fault. Dr. Anna Lembke, a psychiatrist at Stanford University, explains it this way. Our brains were never designed for a world of endless entertainment available at the touch of a finger. For thousands of years, the brain's reward system worked like this. You put in effort, you find food, you feel a rush of pleasure. Effort first, rewards second. That's how motivation works. That's how healthy brains work. What smartphones and social media have done is remove the effort entirely. One swipe, one scroll, one tap. And the reward comes flooding in. A funny video, a new like, an unexpected message. The brain gets a hit of dopamine, that's the chemical that makes you feel good, without doing anything to earn it. And here's the cruel part. For every high, the brain automatically corrects downward. After the dopamine rush comes the crash. The world after the screen goes dark feels flat, gray, slow, boring. Your voice, an invitation for a walk, the smell of dinner, they simply cannot compete. Not because your child doesn't love you, but because their brain chemistry has been temporarily recalibrated by something that was specifically, professionally engineered to be more stimulating than real life. You are not losing to bad parenting. You are losing to billion-dollar algorithms. And that is a very different problem. This brings us to something that might explain a lot of the tension in your home. When you talk to your child, especially about something important, have you noticed they seem to check out? Their eyes glaze, they fidget, they give one-word answers, and you think they're not listening, they don't care, they're being disrespectful. But here is what is actually happening. A brain that has spent years consuming content in 15-second cycles, short videos, quick messages, rapid-fire images, physically struggles to follow a long, linear conversation. It's not attitude, it's not laziness. The neural pathways that support sustained, focused attention have simply not been exercised, like a muscle that hasn't been used. Neurobiologist Marianne Wolf puts it simply: we are losing the art of deep reading and deep listening, the ability to sit with an idea long enough to truly understand it. And when a child can't follow your train of thought, they don't experience it as a failure of attention. They experience it as something overwhelming and uncomfortable, something to escape from. There is also another consequence that is quieter, but perhaps more serious. When children grow up without enough face-to-face conversation, without reading live expressions, without navigating real silences and real awkwardness, they don't develop the ability to fully understand their own emotions. They feel things, but they can't name them. They can't explain them. They don't know what to do with them. And so, instead of coming to you, they go back to the screen, because the screen never asks them to explain how they feel. Here is something that might surprise you. Your child often finds it easier to text someone in the next room than to walk in and speak to them. And that's not just a quirk. It tells us something important. Real conversation is vulnerable. You can't edit what you just said. You can't delete an awkward pause. You have to be there, in real time, with another real person, and you never quite know how it will land. For a generation that grew up with the ability to carefully craft every message before sending it, that raw, uncontrollable quality of live conversation has started to feel genuinely threatening. Author Jonathan Haidt describes this clearly. In trying to make the world safer for children, kinder online spaces, curated content, protection from discomfort, we accidentally created an environment that made the real world feel dangerous by comparison. But here is what the research tells us. It is exactly in the awkward moments, in the fumbled words, in the uncomfortable pauses, that character is built. Resilience is built. The ability to sit with another human being and truly connect, that is built. Not on a screen, in a room, with the phone put away. So what do we do with all of this? The answer is not to declare war on technology. In 2026, banning screens is like trying to ban electricity. It won't work, and it will only create conflict and resentment. The answer is something more intentional and more human. Researchers at MIT found something remarkable. Just 10 minutes of genuine, focused, face-to-face conversation between a parent and child each day. 10 minutes with no screens, no distractions, no multitasking, measurably improves a child's emotional intelligence over time. Not 10 hours, 10 minutes of real presence. The philosopher Erich Fromm once wrote about the difference between two ways of living, having and being. The digital world is built almost entirely around having, more content, more followers, more stimulation, more. But what a child's brain actually needs, what it is literally wired to need, is being. Being seen, being heard, being in the presence of someone who is not looking at a screen. This does not require a perfect family. It does not require a perfect parent. It requires one thing: choosing for a defined window of time to be the most interesting thing in the room. Create what you might call analog islands in your day, moments where reality is simply more alive than any screen. A walk where you ask real questions and wait for real answers. A meal where the phones stay in another room. A bedtime conversation that goes wherever it needs to go. Your child's brain is not broken. It adapted brilliantly, efficiently to the environment it was given, and it can adapt again. Because neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire itself, doesn't stop in childhood. It continues throughout life. But it needs something to rewire toward, and that something is you. Relationships are not destroyed by gadgets. They are weakened by the absence of shared moments, real ones, unfiltered ones, ones where nobody is performing for a camera or composing the perfect reply. Find those moments, protect them, and become for your child the one interface that no algorithm can ever replace, the experience of being truly, completely seen by someone who loves them. If this video made you think about your own home, your own habits, or someone you know, share it. Leave a comment. Tell us what it brought up for you. This has been Psychology Unfiltered. We'll see you in the next one.